Namaskaram, this is Swapnesh and I'm back with another video. It's been a long time I have not made any videos, but in this video I'm going to speak about my life journey, particularly about spirituality from last 1 year. I remember 1st of March, last time it was Shivratri and I was here in Bangalore. First time I was traveling to Bangalore. And back then my mindset was completely different. I was into doing business and earning money because I was thinking those are the ultimate thing about life. You have a good business, you have a good job, you have a good income earning source, and then you have good relationships, then it's fine. That's the best thing that one can do. But after the 1st March when I came here, I did not know what was going to happen with me. And what happened in just 1 year, it is a complete different me again. Right now, this one is a complete different one than the last one. During this, Sadhguru started a movement called Save Soil. Now what I did is I started volunteering by myself, and I was not an Isa meditator or nobody has asked me to do something like that. So what I did is I took one sunboard, or you can say easel wood, and I printed this Save Soil image by downloading from the internet, and then I just tried from my side to make people aware about that. So I went to Maratali Bridge and I started holding this plug card and I started making people aware about almost everything. So many people came and so many people took pictures, images with me, and they promised me they will share it on their social media, and this was giving me a certain kind of fulfillment that I was doing something good about the society. I was doing something good about saving the soil, which usually matter to me. The way I have lived my life completely is related to nature only. From my childhood only, I have been into jungles, I have been to rivers, I have been I have experienced also this farming life. So these are something that really matters to me, nature particularly. So that is why I felt that soil is something that I need to speak about it if it is a concern. So when he started the movement, I thought I could also make myself part of it. So I did it by myself. And during this, there were some people who came up to me, and almost in all those people there was one girl who came up to me and she asked this amazing question: how are you here? I'm like, this is the most weirdest question that I'm hearing right now. How are you here? What does this mean? I said I'm living there and I just came here to make make the awareness about Save Soil. But she thought that I am some sort of a meditator from Isha. She thought also I'm some person who is doing volunteering over there, and I was here to make people aware about it. But that was not the case. I was doing it by myself, volunteeringly. But I was not an Isha meditator by then. So she made me aware about the inner engineering. So I started doing inner engineering, and in the beginning process of inner engineering as well, before inner engineering, I was doing this Isa Kriya. So I was so intense about this Isa Kriya. I was sitting, and every single time I go into this meditative states, usually 5 to 7 minutes, I could just close my eyes and sit silently. 5 to 7 minutes. It was really amazing for me, and that time I was also consuming videos of Sadhguru in which he used to tell that you're supposed to be still. You're supposed to be conscious about every actions that you are doing. So after this Isa Kriya, every time I used to come downstairs to have my breakfast, I could sense my feet touching the ground, and the entire coming downstairs, I could sense it, and it just made me feel so much aware about myself, my actions. So this was just something else. Like every time we are doing something, but it's just happening from us, we are not able to experience what is happening. Every single tiny detail that is happening in your body, we are not experiencing. Subconsciously it is going in, but we are consciously not experiencing it. When you start experiencing consciously, it just gives you some different level of experience, the same simple things in our life that we are doing regularly. So something else I started feeling in after Isa Kriya. I started becoming more conscious. And once I left from here, Bangalore, I went back to home. I started doing it very much intensely, and I had no intention to go to inner engineering because I didn't know what inner engineering is all about. But still, I started my practices. During this, I was so intense that there have been some moments where I could go into the silence. Silence as in, I think this is Sunya or something, but it was some kind of a state in which the time starts flipping poop, poop, like that. So, and again, you know consciously that you are not thinking anything, there is no thoughts inside your head, there's something dark, and then 10 minutes gone. So this is how I used to feel. Sometimes I used to see myself from within. This is some weird stuff, so I'm not going to go and talk about all these things because that seems like a hallucination, and could be it could be a hallucination as well. So I'll not talk about those things. What I can tell you by experience is that something used to happen for which I had no answer. So that is why that made me feel dive more deeper into it, deeper into the subjects. Now reading is something that I always love to do, so I already read this inner engineering book, but I wanted to go more into it. So what I did is I took a subscription of Sadhguru exclusive back then, and once I got the Sadhguru exclusives, I started watching the Victory's Daughters documentary, which is Sadhguru's wife's Vijima. Now I started watching the documentary, I learned about Mahasamadhi, and that is the moment when everything just changed. Because I knew for sure that Indian yogis do have that capability of living their body consciously, and this enlightenment, this realized being, these things I knew existed, but I never knew that people of our age also can be able to do that. So I thought these things used to be there, but right now they are not there. I thought these are just gone. But when Sadhguru explained it in that particular documentary, I felt like maybe he knows something about it. Now I'm not sure he knows or not, but I could see a possibility over there. So I made myself available to everything that he is doing. Post that, what I did is I bought the book which is called Death, written by him, and I started reading that book. And when I started reading that book, within just 3 days I completed the entire book, because it was just giving me all the information, all the knowledges that I was looking for all my life, particularly about death and afterlife. So this was a very intense book, and I read it in just 3 days. After that, I was ready to go for inner engineering, and this was the moment when I was so much intense about this yoga thing, because I was doing it it was the very initial stage of me. So the moment the day inner engineering started, it started with the 7 courses with 7 days, and after that 1 day initiation would be like, I think 2-3 days initiation would be done. So that's how it was supposed to be. So in the beginning, this first chant was Asatoma Sadgamaya. The moment that chant started, I was sitting in Ardha Siddhasana. In every setup that was supposed to be made, tears started rolling over my cheeks. I did not know what happened to me, but I started crying. After that 1 hour, I went back to shower, and I just cried. And I did not know what was happening, but it just feels so relaxing to cry. I kept crying. I still don't have idea what was that, but it was a sense of experience which I would like to have my entire life. If I had to cry all my tears out, I would love to do that. The experience was of that level, or that I mean, there is no word to explain it, So that was the moment I knew that I am going to go into it. I don't know what it is, but I'll dive into it. As far as I can go, I'll definitely go. Then after 2 months of wait, I got initiated into Sambhavi Mahamudra Kriya. But by the time I discontinued my practices, because 2 months was too much. But in these 2 months, actually, I realized the power of Isa Kriya only. In fact, I don't know yet the highest benefit that you are going to get with Sambhavi Mahamudra, but I have experienced the best that I could have experienced from the Isa Kriya itself. If you ask me to compare between these two, so far what I have experienced with only Isa Kriya, I have never experienced with Sambhavi yet. But when I was performing Isa Kriya, there used to be some time where I could experience, I could feel that the depth that I can go into whatever the zone is with only Isa Kriya, it felt for me that if I go with a little more other practices, energy practices, I could go more deeper into it and sustain myself there for longer period of time. So I was looking for some series of practices which exactly Sambhavi provided me later. But the moment I started doing Sambhavi, some upar niche started happening, and maybe I was not continuous with my practices, maybe I was not eating the right food, maybe I was not doing something right, so that I just could not experience the best that Sambhavi can offer to me yet. So I'm still waiting for some circumstances, some situation where I just could put myself into the same situation again, to go into it completely so that I can experience everything. I'm just trying right now, but that is how I started doing these yoga practices, and that is how I felt spirituality is something I don't know anything about it. That is why I felt like I should go into it, I should dive more deeper into it. Everything that is possible out there, everything that is present out there, I at least would like to experience it. If not, go to the complete extent that yoga has to offer. Still, it is how far it could be possible, I would just go that extent. So this is what I got as my intention. In the moment I got touched by this, rest of the thing in the world, they just did not matter to me, because everything that I have so far achieved, every way I could think that what is the maximum thing that can happen to me, but in terms of yoga, I could not just imagine it. External world, this materialistic world, I can just close my eyes and I can experience that. Even if I buy a Lamborghini, even if I buy a big house or villa, how I'm gonna feel, and that feeling is going to stay for how long. I can imagine those things, but when I close my eyes, I just don't know how far I can go in the spirituality world. And everything that you can achieve in the outside world, in the materialistic world, it is just a pump of small dopamine, endorphin, serotonin, something of some sort of happy hormone or some cocktail. But the moment you sit with a closed eyes, and if you have like made yourself of that kind, I mean, how to explain it, prepared yourself or with the practice again and again, the chemical blast happens in a different way, and this chemical blast stays there for a long period of time. And outside world, whatever you do, it just stays in, comes and goes back. Inner world, whatever you do, it happens, it stays for very long, unless and until you just stop doing your practices and all. So that is what I have experienced, particularly about spirituality. Now I'm not asking you or asking anybody to come to the spirituality. I'm not saying everything out there is just rubbish, but what essentially happened is you start paying more attention to everything that is there around you, and start seeing that whatever is happening, whatever people are doing outside, by thinking that this is something that is ultimate, is just for fun only. Right now people are chasing after money, that's one thing, or career you may say. And second thing is relationship. They are struggling to make these two things better. Once these two things better, then there is nothing more. So that is why they are struggling into it. Now once the person gets some higher taste than this, then people will just move to the next step. They will not consider these things to be problem. Now problems are only exist only because you are thinking about it. The moment you leave them, the problems also ends. Every single time, this is the way only we end the problem. If you don't believe this, you can imagine any problem that you used to have in your childhood. Right now, see, you don't have those problems. It's only because right now those situations, whatever the problems that used to happen back then, right now you don't consider them as a problem either. You have left them. So right now you think the biggest thing that could happen to you or me is either the career or the relationship. and that is why we are thinking about it. We are just investing so much of our time and energy in it, and that is why we are messing them up as well. Just don't do anything, everything will just sort itself out. So that's how nature works, that's how everything is working. In my relationship also, I was doing the same thing. Every time we used to fight, we didn't do anything, and the next morning it was a fresh morning. So that is how it used to be with my case, and I'm not suggesting anything, I'm not recommending anything to anybody, I'm not talking about responsibility or something. Responsibility or something we'll talk about in some other videos, but this is what spirituality is all about, that I have experienced so far. It could be something more, it could be something less, it could be something else, or might be I'm hallucinating right now, but whatever I have experienced is something that very existential or experienceable something. It cannot be seen, but it is there, that I know for sure. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and I'll definitely talk about my journey with becoming a volunteer artist. I'll talk about my experiences of volunteering there. I'll talk about the things that happened to me too, so that I can manifest all these things. So there are so many interesting story about my life that I have been through in last 1 year, and hopefully if you are enjoying it, keep on watching this. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. Namaskaram.